Hi, Dave. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by saying that one great advantage of liberal arts colleges is our low student-to-faculty ratios, which hover around 10 to 1. Without maintaining these ratios, liberal arts colleges may not be able to claim that we offer a far superior undergraduate education. The best liberal arts education is distinguished by personal mentoring, individualized learning, and opportunities for students to learn through both theory and practice under expert guidance. But how can we sustain these approaches in the face of strong external pressures, such as cost? The cost of maintaining this ratio is staggering, and it's increasing every year. How can we continue to afford the low student-faculty ratio on which our work depends? Workforce. Where and how will we recruit and develop the numbers of future professors we will need to sustain this ratio? Professors who are imbued with the liberal arts ethos. Innovation. Liberal arts colleges are very good at addressing traditional questions. How will we accommodate change and address the questions of today and tomorrow? And isolation. Should we continue to work in competition with other sectors of higher education, or can we preserve our clear identity while engaging in more collaboration and exchange? My premise is that if we solve the fourth, the isolation and segmentation of higher education, we can make real headway with the first three. So let's start there. We need to overcome the excessive segmentation of higher education. For the most part, we do our work separately and competitively. But if there is collaboration that is consistent, long-term, and that involves significant numbers of people, important mutual benefits can result. I'm going to speak today about two programs that are working successfully at Lawrence University that represent the type of creative synergies that I would encourage: LUR1 and Lawrence Fellows. LUR1 stands for Lawrence University partnering with Research One universities, but you could put the name of any liberal arts college in the first half of that equation. LUR1 places undergraduate students as research interns at R1 universities with alumni mentors. Liberal arts colleges have very strong track records. We produce graduates who go on to earn the PhD in the sciences. And as a result, we find many of our graduates in important positions of responsibility or as directors of research labs in universities in this country and around the world. These alumni can be very welcoming and supportive, caring mentors for undergraduates from their alma maters. The cost of this program for our institution vis-a-vis the alumni mentors is the best cost of all. It's free. Now, we do pay our students a stipend in order for them to engage in these summer research internships. It is the equivalent stipend to that we provide for students who remain at Lawrence and do summer research here, so that we avoid any unhealthy competition. But regarding the alumni mentors, they come to us as a no-cost resource. They provide enormous numbers of teaching assistants and teachers for us. The alumni, in effect, become affiliated faculty. I would recommend, ideally, that these mentors be listed with our science departments as affiliated faculty. I don't see this as a signal that our departments need strengthening. I see this as a real signal that our departments are sufficiently strong and our faculty sufficiently distinguished that this affiliation is seen as prestigious on both sides. Many liberal arts colleges expect senior experiences or senior independent studies or other capstone projects from their graduates. This demands enormous mentoring capacity from our institutions. How do we afford that and provide that at a level that is consistently very high quality? And the alumni mentors can help us with that as well. And there is a collateral benefit. As these alumni reconnect with their college, they become intellectual donors. Not all of them are philanthropic donors, but each and every one of them is an important intellectual donor to their college. LUR1 has started to spread beyond alumni mentors as other professors from our partnering institutions see the quality of undergraduate that we're able to send to their research laboratories. They are beginning to inquire into joining the program, and a couple have already done so. As a result, we're building partnerships not with just one or two R1 institutions, but with about 30 at this time. And you can see from this current slide the placement for this year's science majors going out in the summer. These are the students who so far have been placed with alumni mentors around the country and around the world. The areas of study that these students are able to engage in is extremely wide-ranging. Some of their advanced research builds on strengths we currently have here at Lawrence, such as the study of invasive species. But some of these research areas are well beyond the capacity of any undergraduate college, such as neonatal lung disease. These research topics go beyond what could or should be expected of any undergraduate college to sustain. They are the purview of the R1 institutions. The students from the Liberal Arts College find a lot of benefit from this program, as you might expect. One case is Cassie Burke, who will graduate this year. She started as an LU1 scholar at Montana State University, where Dr. Rob Kramer, and now both Dr. Kramer and Cassie are moving to Dartmouth, joining the Molecular and Cellular Biology graduate program, Dr. Kramer as a research director and Cassie as his new graduate student. But in general, the students report that the resume building they're able to achieve through this project benefits them when they interview for graduate schools. They present at conferences, they do poster sessions. In some instances, they're even able to co-author published papers. This gives them the background that they need in order to stand out from stellar undergraduates from around the country. So where are they now? Here's a look at where some of last year's LUR1 students are going as they enter graduate school this fall. They're going to Yale, University of Utah, Duke, Columbia, Cornell, very, very fine graduate schools. We suffer at Lawrence from a little Midwestern modesty. Our students tend to imagine themselves in graduate schools that are within the area, fine schools, but we like to broaden their perspective so they consider graduate programs further afield that might include more diverse areas of interest. So in this particular creative synergy, what do the LUR1 liberal arts colleges get? Additional faculty become available to the students. The students explore new or expanded areas of study. They have access to additional cutting-edge research, and they return with new knowledge and methodologies that they can share with their student and faculty colleagues. What do the R1 universities get? They report that they get better prepared graduate students, especially for specific research programs. They have potential co-authors during the summer and more contributors to their data collection and data analysis. And they have some increased dissemination of their research because their students add to their potential to cover conferences and professional meetings with presentations and poster sessions. All right, so on to the Lawrence Fellows. Here, the personnel are going to flow in the other direction. Here, we welcome cohorts of PhD graduates from the R1 universities to our liberal arts college for 2 to 3 year teaching appointments. Now, there are two typical scenarios with postdocs, as you all know. There's the research postdoc who enters a research lab and engages in a defined direction. There is the sabbatical leave replacement who enters a college and basically needs to assume the course responsibilities of the professor who is on leave. But the Lawrence Fellows are a third way. We offer a reduced teaching load so that these fellows can explore their own creative teaching directions. What sort of courses do they want to develop for their future? What portfolio of teaching, learning, and research do they desire to carry with them as they move forward in their careers? Also, it's important to note they come as a cohort. What's typical is that liberal arts colleges welcome 1 or 2 postdocs at a time, and that can marginalize those folks, and they don't necessarily have a very loud voice in terms of the campus overall. If there's a cohort of 6 to 14 fellows at a time, they offer a critical mass of opinion and input that can influence innovation on a campus. The program is relatively cost-effective. The salaries for fellows are somewhat less than salaries for tenure-track professors, but the fellows are given smaller course loads as well as some funding for professional development opportunities like conference attendance. But this is a different recruitment model for future professors. We all follow a traditional model, I believe, which is advertising for new faculty members, having them on campus for a day or 2 of interviews and having them teach a sample class. Then they move on to the tenure track. The fellow's idea is not a 2-day interview, but a 2-year interview. It enables both the fellow and the college to explore whether this is an ideal fit and how both could move forward together as we develop the future of American higher education. Where do these fellows come from? All over the place. In general, the applicant pools are very rich. The initial cohort of 12 Lawrence Fellows brought applications from over 900 new PhDs. That was a wonderful pool to select from. We have had over the past 7 years 38 new PhD recipients who have taught in 19 of our departments. It's a very broad coverage of our campus program. Now, go back and think about the creative work that I mentioned we expect them to do. They have contributed to our college in various ways. Some have developed courses that have added to the work of a department, such as adding a course in Jewish studies to our religious studies department. Some of them have had a very broad impact in helping to develop a whole area of study, such as ethnomusicology in our Conservatory of Music. And others have added co-curricular projects that have enhanced our departments and the campus and the community learning as a whole, such as adding a festival in Latin American film to our Spanish department. All of these have been the work of Lawrence Fellows, for which we remain very, very appreciative. Now, some of these innovations that they bring last as long as the fellows are here. You cannot accommodate every new idea and every addition to the curriculum. But some of the innovations become permanent. A case in point is Adam Galambos, who came to us as a Lawrence Fellow from the University of Minnesota, bringing social choice theory to our Department of Economics. But Adam is probably proudest of helping to leading the implementation of the Lawrence Scholars in Business program, about which you'll hear more from Speaker Bob Prill later today. Being a leader in the development of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship program, and of course, having the bright idea to bring TEDx to Lawrence University. You all are here today because of Adam Galambos. So as you meet him in the course of the day, please ask him about his experience and what he thought about, what he learned and derived from being a Lawrence Fellow. The fellows in general do report that the mentoring they receive and the learning they experience from their peers as being in a cohort of young scholars in the same position is very beneficial as they build toward their futures. 22 of them are in tenure-track positions in other institutions now, like-minded institutions around the country, and 11 are currently at Lawrence, either as tenure-track, tenured professors, or as continuing fellows. So, what do the liberal arts colleges get from this partnership? New topic areas for the curriculum, additional faculty for tutorials and mentoring, a program that helps us develop new faculty, and increase collaboration and publishing opportunities for the fellows with our current faculty. The R1 universities report satisfaction with this program, and I'll give you their top answers. They appreciate the placement and employment opportunities for their recent graduates that involve mentoring and training in the art of teaching, not necessarily something that was covered in their doctoral programs. And it gives these young scholars a head start on publishing and in finding how their research can continue to fit into, ideally, the liberal arts environment, making them more competitive for the tenure-track positions for which they will subsequently apply. So, Here we are back at the idea of creative synergies. From the liberal arts colleges, we had the R1, LUR1 students flowing toward the research universities and their science mentors. In the Lawrence Fellows Program, we have the opposite with the flow coming from the R1 universities toward the liberal arts colleges. We like to call this a virtuous circle. It's virtual too. So I'm going to close by returning to my original premise. If we tackle the segmentation of higher education, we can make headway with the pressures of cost, workforce development, and the need for innovation that confront liberal arts colleges and our mission-driven need for low student-faculty ratios. With models such as LUR1 and Lawrence Fellows, mutual benefits extend to our R1 partners. As educational institutions double down on our identities and our place within the higher education spectrum, my recommendation is that we replace competition with more and more creative synergies. Thank you.